Okay, today I am going to talk about Uranus, which is an outer planet, and it is currently sitting in Taurus, which would be thought of as your second house of objects, but Taurus being house and home. And why I want to talk about Uranus as an astrological process is that we are in such a state of, I would say, crazy. And, with people very divided politically, a virus that's raging that interferes in our ability to interact with each other. Cities, municipalities having to shut down, sudden and unexpected surprises in the family life. That would sum up Uranus in a nice way in Taurus. Now, I'm also going to say that it's also revolutionary. It feels at this time that that in many ways the last 4 years have been kind of a build-up to maybe a revolution in how we conduct business politically. It's telling that a good number of people want change to the point that they're willing to toss democracy to get it. I'm not taking a political position when I talk about January 6th. I'm taking an astrological viewpoint here. And January 6th was a symptom of Uranus for all of us, a revolution taking place in how we view our leadership at this time. And during a time where we have a virus that's raging, and right now I'm in Hawaii, and I chose to come here, as people know, because one, I got incredibly sick, and two, I got very fortunate and found a doctor on the island, and three, we've been able to find a way for me to live with what's happening to me, which in some ways is also Uranus in my house, in my body, because basically what we've decided is the cancer is going to be untreated. It would be more dangerous to treat the cancer than it is to live with it, and to do my best to adjust my body to the circumstances I find myself in. The level of care I would need would not probably be life-giving, it would be life-ending, so there's not really any point in my mind of what they have to offer me. So I am choosing not to do chemotherapy or any type of invasive therapy, and my doctor is very fortunately working with me on how to move forward, and what we're doing is we're meeting the needs of my body. We're doing palliative care, which is a form of hospice, but I would say that since the last few times that I've been on podcasts, that I've moved away from the acute stage of hospice. I feel like I'm just, oops, and a little bit of wind here, sorry about that. I'm going to try to stabilize that as best I can. There we go. We've got Hurricane Linda, the remnants of it are kind of wrapping up here on the Big Island. So, and there were other areas, Maui, and I do believe Oahu had flash flood problems, and I don't know that we had that here. I haven't really heard or seen anything that leads me to believe that that's our story here. But anyway, so Uranus. Let's talk about Uranus. Well, this is a planet of unexpected surprises, breakthroughs, revolutions, and what it is, if you think of it like a goalpost, and the football player kicks the ball through the goalpost, what Uranus is it's a planet that kind of keeps us between the goalposts. It's got its negative end and it has its positive end, and literally, it is the planet that keeps us between the lines, but it does so with its own flair. Now, I have, and this is worthy of note, I have Sun conjunct Uranus, and that is happening for me right now. It takes a planet, Uranus, 7 years to move through each sign. I have it currently in the 9th house, in Leo. So dramatic. My times have been dramatic, but now in the 9th house, I'm being asked in a breakthrough fashion to learn and revolutionize something new, which for me, I went ahead during COVID when it all began. I signed up for Astropsychology from Glenn Perry. And again, sudden breakthroughs, you know. I got this great idea, oh my, from the 9th house, which is higher education. So this is how this works. And then I have my co-reader who we agreed to kind of discuss this so you folks can get a kind of a feel of how Uranus might work. For me, it's really been a driving factor for me going to school and kind of taking a step back and looking at kind of things, even though I'm really sick, finding my way forward all the same. And that's how this has impacted me. This is what I decided during this breakthrough of COVID, this pandemic that we're in. And now my co-reader, who's also been quite ill, basically has Uranus in the 3rd house, the house of communication. And what's sweet is that is opposite my Uranus, but it allows us to kind of work together and work on integrating factors from an educational point of view, because 9th house, education. 3rd house, information, how she is able to interpret and provide information. That's difficult for her right now. She has something in the tune of MS, and so it causes her brain to skip and stutter around. And so for her right now, why we haven't been kind of more on it is Uranus. You know. And so I want to talk about it because I think that it's easy, you know, to be in one way, to be angry with people who choose not to get, for instance, the jab. And I'm not going to use the words because it does create some flagging in my podcast. So you'll just have to bear with me when I use alternative descriptions. But a lot of people being unwilling or even fearful to go and get this next step in a process where many people feel that the government or the entities that are in charge have gaslit them, their ability to feel like they're going to receive the truth. So these people are receiving breakthroughs in their own. So from an astrological perspective, I'm observing this, and I just find it fascinating. And I spoke with a doctor today because I'm not going to go into too much about it, but the doctor has 25 patients with COVID right now. 25. That's a lot of patients for one doctor, and 5 of them need hospitalization. That should send a shiver down anybody's spine. And part of me, I have to say, I have given great consideration to the vaccine, but I've had anaphylaxis 4 times in the last year, and so my doctor told me quite plainly I don't qualify to receive any assistance in that way. So what I'm stuck with is that in my home life, I have to really be careful. I'm not going into grocery stores. I'm not touching things. I go from my car to, like right here, I'm in a place called Mahakona, down the street. This is where I swim, out that way, and it's kind of a reef. It's not really, it's not deep at all, hardly where I go out to swim. So I go out and I have a snorkel mask and I just kind of toddle along and enjoy the fish. But basically, Uranus, during a time where, again, we have someone saying the election was stolen, Uranus. And in fact, I have done Mr. 45's chart, and you can find that in my podcast. I've not only done his, but I also did him because I do believe he might be a reincarnate of Mussolini. just a lot of details. And when I did Mussolini and his chart together, the composite, I found a lot of similarities, a lot of bleed through. So I can't be certain, but I think that there's a possibility that he might be somebody that's been a leader before, and that the people who love him and really don't care what he does or doesn't do, whether he's right or wrong. This is a revolution, and of course in his chart, I can't remember, I think it might have been the 11th house that he had Uranus, and he had it conjunct something that it was kind of massive, and I wish I could remember the details because it was interesting. But his chart speaks of a revolution, and I point that out in the reading, and that's back a ways. So please do go check it out. There's a couple of different Trump readings, but the one I think is most interesting is the Mussolini one, and the fact that he has Uranus, and it's creating a bit of a manner in him that he wants to revolutionize. And I think he had it in the 11th house, the house of groups, but I can't remember the details, what sign it was in. So I'm hesitant to say too much about it because I'll get it wrong. But basically, he being kind of the head of what is now an outright revolution. Okay, now I'm revolutionary in some ways, because I've got Sun conjunct in the 9th, and it's active right now. Where I very much question authority. I very much question who's right and who's wrong. But at the end of the day, I know things haven't changed in this country so to the point that what is being said to be, got a nice flow in there. Felt like I was going to get blown over. So anyway, a lot of energy right now, various people. And why? Well, I think gaslighting has everything in the world to do with why for certain people it's just such a hotbed, because in our system as we know it, they tell us that it's 6,000 or 5,000 year old planet that was created in a number of days, and that's our story from a book called the Bible, and that for to be fair, the Bible might be another book of the Quran, because the Quran was actually written first, the Bible was written second. Would maybe have something to do with it. Feels like the people of the Middle East might not trust us or like us because maybe they feel like we stole from them. And, perhaps we did. I wouldn't be at all surprised. But gaslighting, I mean, no matter what, you cannot tell me that the planet is billions of years old according to science, and then expect me to believe that I have to go talk to the man in the clergy uniform to have contact with my God. And I think that this is really creating an environment where people are very much questioning their values and their spirituality and what's true and what's not true, who's lied to me and who's not lied to me. And now one of the things to keep in mind now when we elect officials, especially the 4-year elections, they have 4 years to show their stuff or be sent packing. So, they give it their best shot, but it's never anything more than temporary. So what are we really following? Again, revolutionary. What's really going on? Uranus. It's unexpected. We're not, and things right now are shocking in some ways. And to add to it, we're being told things that in places, well, we're having flash floods, and we're seeing incredible amounts of water, but we're having water shortages again. Revolutionary. Where do you go with this? How do you make sense out of these out of balance statements? Well, that's what Uranus does. I mean, it's a slow process. It's an outer planet. It moves slowly, and so it's not anywhere near perfected. And what we are going to see is going to take a good deal of time to perfect. But at this time, we are really enmeshed in Uranus planetary energy in Taurus. Now, I have a funny story about Uranus in Taurus. When I was in my really most difficult time during this process that I've been in here recently, where I got put in hospice, I'm living, oh, I'm not living, I'm at my daughter's house, and next door, a brand new home was getting put in, and it's one of those manufactured homes. It was a triple wide. And my daughter and I are driving back from going to the doctor, or we were doing something. I can't remember. I'm saying it like I remember. And I was a little fuzzy all through there. But we were driving back, and she says, "Look at that over there. Does that look like that's sagging?" And I remember saying to her, "No, that can't be. That just wouldn't make any sense. That's a brand new home. It's just got to be a visual something." Again, Uranus, okay, in Taurus. And this was like a square that was taking place just at that particular time. And it was Uranus and Mars in Taurus. So basically, we get home, and this home is right next door to her home. As we pull in, we see that it's cracked in half. The house was cracked in half. Again, you can't make this stuff up. Uranus, Mars in Taurus. And that was the result, because Mars is kind of your aggressive planet, where things can happen, and unexpected is Uranus, and Taurus is your home. And so, I'm seeing, I'm finishing up my first year at that point, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's live, and I might even put a picture of that house as my for the podcast, because it's actually kind of funny. But anyway, I just had one of my lovely neighborhood friends drive by and wave at me. Anyway, so what we are really interested in knowing about, and I've got the Witch's Tarot, and I've got my selenite stick to clear it, and so I cleared it earlier with my crystal ball, but for the sake of fairness, we'll just do this here together. We're just going to ask Spirit and the Witch's Tarot, what is going on here? What can we expect as this is going to be, Uranus is going to be in Taurus for 7 years. So for 7 years, we're going to experience, some uptick and change. Now, in my natal is where I'm discussing mine, and, but nonetheless, Uranus is still in Taurus, and for me it's Taurus Mars right now, because 6th house under transits, I'm still affected by it. All right, we're going to shuffle one more time, and I'm going to have to be really careful how I do this today, because as you can see, it's a little windy here today. So, and we have been having remnants of Hurricane Linda. So, and and probably there's going to be, who knows? It's been pretty wild. So, okay, so we're just going to ask the Witch's Tarot. I'm going to put the camera down so you can see my little table. And let's do a little bit more. Okay, so you can watch me pull the cards. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and do my usual. And I'm going to pull 5 cards and then cut for 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Didn't mean to take that 6 too. Okay, yeah, see, this is the problem with having major medical. Your memory sucks. I'm getting better, though. I have to admit, I feel like a whole lot better. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so what we've got a foundation of 2 of Wands. Yeah, this has been a time where, we're looking out somewhere, like we're trying to make sense out of the energy we are encountering. We're looking everywhere for an answer, up to and including vaccinations, which personally, I think that if it is helping the situation, it's probably the right thing to do. My husband is able to have the vaccination, and he is getting the vaccination. I spoke with my doctor today, and she told me I am not eligible for the vaccination, as I've had anaphylaxis 4 times in the last year. So that disqualifies me on every level for the vaccination. So it starts out as the foundation of being a 2 of Wands, where we're looking for action for the good of partnership or companionship or connection to another. So the foundation being we want answers, you know, but there's a lot of people, like I said, that feel very strongly that getting the vaccination might not be the right thing for them, and rightfully so, because they've had maybe way more gaslighting than they care to see. And you know, that being said, you can see on the, oh gosh, I'm doing a 3 of Wands. Let me cancel all that. The 3 of Wands. Yeah, looking out overseas for answers. Okay, and you can see on the Wands that there's growth going on above them. Okay, and you know, so something is developing, something is happening, and probably for the good of resolving this issue as much as we possibly can. You know, now one of the things that I find extremely sad is that the history of the pandemic of the 1900s was it took us 3 years to figure out that we needed to cooperate and do what we had to do to work together to resolve that pandemic, and largely our behavior again is similar, that there are those, for reasons that are valid, I'm going to say, because if you've been lied to, why would you trust that what you're being told is the truth? But I will also say that at this point we're running out of options, and it is very overwhelming, and I can tell you that right now Hawaii is right on the edge of being shut down as a tourist location as a result of COVID. So anyway, I shouldn't have said that word, and I hope I don't get flagged for it, but that's that. And what it starts out as is a 2 of Cups after the foundation. You know, it is about our relationships. It's about doing what you need to do, and masks, a whole nother, you know, part of Uranus, you know, sudden and unexpected, you know, having to wear a mask. Oh my God, you know, why would I do that? Well, you know, what options do we really have? The science says that if I reduce my aspirations and that saves you, and you reduce your aspirations and that saves me, then, you know, something is at least better than nothing, because I can tell you I've had this virus, and I had pneumonia in under 2 hours from the time I started first feeling the first symptoms in my lungs. I was full in 2 hours, double pneumonia, and it took me, I got it in December, and I was not over the initial part until March, so that was 4 months, and it took me up until very recently to get my sense of smell and taste back. So that is, you know, it's nothing to mess with. It's no joke, and it might, you know, for some people that don't get it and don't get it hard, you know, you're fortunate. But for people like myself, who, you know, like my doctor said, I'm kind of almost the toe tag quality, and it's a miracle I'm still alive. You know, here we are. Okay, so the 2 of Cups, it's not about just you, it's about you and someone else. And yes, I appreciate that the science isn't exact and that we don't exactly understand all of it, but it's something, and if it's going to keep from having a disaster, do it. It's not that hard. Okay, and because it's about justice. Okay, and maybe we're being taught some things in our Uranus revolution to kind of consider what justice might be as we are learning to function through the goalposts, through that positive and that negative energy, that yin and that yang. What's the balance, okay? Justice is our balance. This is what we're after. We're after doing the right thing. And I know even the people who feel very strongly, no vaccinations, no cooperations, they're not wanting to harm others, but it is harming, and it's time for that to stop. I mean, I've actually considered, I just want to say this as well, that wearing a t-shirt that says I wear a mask because I have stage 4 cancer, which I think is ridiculous, that, you know, I would need to announce myself in that way for the sake of being safe, because I've been harassed for wearing my mask, for people thinking that, oh, you're outdoors, you don't need that stupid thing, let me remove that from your face. That's not right. You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with. Just remember that. I have stage 4 cancer, and it's not uncommon for cancer patients to wear masks. It's not uncommon for our doctors to ask us to wear masks because our immune systems aren't really very good. So, you know, there's that. So, you know, I just want people to be mindful, okay? And the anchor card is a 10 of Wands. You know, that we're overburdened. This process that we're in, you know, trying to say that one person who we've elected a certain way, a certain number of times, over and over, 46 times now, and it was a fraudulent election. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that there's reasons why the people who are saying these things are saying it. They have their own personal agenda. And don't forget that. They're not telling you the truth either. Probably none of the politicians are. Keep that in mind. That is why we need a revolution. And they're doing it because, well, there's something wrong. And they can't and won't tell us what's wrong, okay? And I've been sensing that something's wrong for a while. You know, when you can't get money together for an infrastructure bill, why don't they want to work on the infrastructure? Isn't it about keeping our country open and accessible, and the people able to come go to and fro from the corporations that we feed? I mean, I don't know. Okay, and basically so this is our main anchor card, 10 of Wands. We are overloaded. We have and we're working for the man, and we're not making any progress, and we're not feeling it anymore. We're starting to feel rebellious in every way. And then we get an 8 of Wands. You know, that we're needing to look over everything. We feel the heat of this pandemic. We feel the heat of the stories we're being told. We feel overloaded as we see this process with Afghanistan. Sudden and unexpected surprises for the people of Afghanistan. I'm sorry, we're disrupting your circumstances, your home life, and we're on our way out of here. You know, now mind you, we needed to leave because we've been war whores forever. And again, that's part of that Uranus, that sudden and unexpected and breakthroughs. We needed to get out of there. We need to start taking care of our homeland, our people. This place is becoming a hellhole the way it is. You know, when I can't go to, right now, my doctor doesn't want me going into a store, touching anything, touching doors, being around other people. I have to do everything kind of in isolation right now because it's just too dangerous for me. And I'm too close to a toe tag as it is. So, you know, it's not going to happen that I'm going to take those kind of risks. I'm going to do what I have to do. But, you know, we're all overloaded, and we all have an opinion. And really, probably your opinion is lovely. But I'm going to tell you, probably what we're told in every possible way, no matter who it is right now, is probably not exactly truthful. Okay? Because we've come to a place where we're in a revolution. Okay? And the final card is the Moon. Why are we in a revolution? Because, well, how we are communicated with is a lot of lies. It's dark. The moon isn't dark. The moon wants to hear us, but the moon can have an element of being a process that can be kind of dark and secretive and hidden. And in this case, that's what we're talking about. The moon, this is the case where the moon is kind of dark. And what we have is, let's see, 1, 8, that's a 9. So, you know, in a humanitarian process, so I'm going to throw in a little of astrology. And if you look, she's holding a torch in the shape of a trident. You know, this very liquid virus that we're fighting, you know, that we just can't seem to get our handle on. So, you know, and again, that anchor being let's see, what was it? It was the justice. Nope, it was the, nope, what was it? Let's see. 1, 2, yeah, it's the Justice card. So if you look at the moon, and so basically the moon being, you know, the final card, but the Justice card being the anchor of this reading, right? That we're tired of being told lies. That's the problem, and we are looking for a breakthrough in this process politically. And I find it incredibly sad that, you know, people are standing on one side of the aisle or the other. I don't think the answer is either. I think the answer is in the process. We are they've lied to us as much as we're going to take. I think that's, and you know, in some ways, accept in gratitude that we are not going to put up with this anymore, because we shouldn't. You know, and we're going to see, again, sudden and unexpected breakthroughs. We're not going to go back to our lower than low-paying jobs that we can't even afford our rent on. So, you know, and a lot of people know we were landlords, so I got bit from non-paying renters who I was never able to recover any government money for that process. And again, unexpected. The government didn't say, by the way, we're going to have the people who own properties share with us the expense of COVID, but that's essentially what has happened. People like myself, you know, I actually, while I had stage 4 cancer, went and got a job and kept the rent paid that way. So, I mean, I just wanted to say that for me it was very painful. So, with that, I very much thank you for joining me here today. And Pearl and I are going to start podcasting here regularly, as we both are. I'm starting my 2nd year of the astrology program, which is kind of going to get more into the psychological aspects of astrology. But I thank you very much for joining me here today, and please do check me out on twiggy.com. I have some introductory rates because I'm just getting started, and I would love to provide you with a reading. I can do your astrology chart. I can do, you know, a natal. I can do tarot cards. It doesn't much matter to me. I also do numerology. So go check it out. See what we've got, and see what you think, and maybe give me a jingle, and let's maybe talk. And with that, I thank you for joining me here today.